Hi Wildings, welcome back to the Wilding Tarot YouTube channel, where we do intuitive tarot card readings on everything to do with the Lovers card. So any way that we use feelings of love or our relationships or connections or anything like that as containers for spiritual growth or helping us align with unconditional love or more God-like consciousness or higher vibrations here on earth. So that's what we do here, and I'm very excited to bring you today's video, which I'll explain properly in a few moments. But the reading turned out really fun. I was really kind of like surprised and excited by the messages that came out. I feel like there's a lot of people in this reading that are doing a lot of work and are very far down the line in terms of spiritual development and using any separations that they might have been in to grow. Like, I definitely got very evolved energy from these readings. So if you're here, if you were called to this reading, know that I see you doing the work. I see your person doing the work, and things are for sure happening. But enough rambling by me. We want to get stuck into the video and get you your messages. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, Wildings, let's start with the actual video today. We're going to be channeling messages about your person's thoughts of you today, as well as channeled messages from them. So yeah, this one's pretty straightforward. We're just finding out what's on their mind today, maybe a little bit of what they're feeling or doing, or anything like that. This is mostly going to be for no contact situations, but if that's not you, just adapting the messages to fit your specific situation. You're all intuitive beings, so I trust that you're able to adapt any messages that we get today based on your specific situation. So just whenever you're ready, choosing pile 1, 2, or 3 to get your channeled messages from your person. Remembering that it's normal to be drawn to more than one pile because your messages might be more of a combination of situations, and who knows what your person is going to want to say to you. Maybe there's little bits and pieces from at least 2 or even all 3 piles. So yeah, just honoring wherever you're being drawn, and wherever you end up, either pile 1, 2, or 3, I will see you there in a moment. Hey there, pile 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose this beautiful pink agate crystal, then this reading is probably for you. Remembering, as always, to bring your intuition and discernment to every general reading, to discern what's for you and what's not for you, and potentially meditating on anything that feels a bit ambiguous to see if there's some sort of like adaptation of that message for you. So the pink agate crystal, I just wanted to point out, is a crystal of connection. So if you're in this pile, that's the crystal you chose, and that's like the general meaning of it. So if you wanted to know, that's the energy you were drawn to. You were drawn to a connection energy. But let's get some themes for today's reading, please. One, there's a good chance that your person has been planning some sort of communication with you today, or at least kind of like visiting what it is that they have to say to you or they feel they need to express on some level, with this air element of communication coming out. This is also a heavy, just like cognitive kind of energy. The air element corresponds with the sword suits, which has a lot to do with what we think and how we communicate. And it corresponds with Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius energy. So potentially those placements might be relevant to your person as well. So yeah, there's probably a lot that they've been thinking about today, especially to do with what they would like to communicate. Your person might also be a Virgo, either sun, moon, or rising, but especially moon, Virgo moon, with this Virgo and moon energy coming out. Or perhaps that could be you and they're thinking about that more like practical aspect of you. But I would say that your person probably has been nitpicking around what they're thinking about today. Virgo energy to me is very kind of self-aware and self-critical. Like there's almost like this secondary like energy running alongside any thoughts that a Virgo person has, kind of like assessing what's being thought and like really like thinking about it. So I'd say they've been very like self-reflective and self-critical of anything that's come up in terms of what they'd like to communicate. So they're probably trying to discern what communication is coming from like a good place and what communication is maybe like either controlling or manipulative or, you know, some sort of means to an end. So they're trying to be very genuine, and they're trying to figure out how to express their needs very well. The thing about most criticisms is that they're usually masking some sort of underlying need. And I think this is very true of Virgo energy. Like I think a lot of Virgo's critical energy comes from kind of trying to bring about fulfillment of needs, because Virgo rules the sixth house of lifestyle and routine. So Virgo really prioritizes how we live our life and how we essentially meet our everyday basic needs. So that tends to be why Virgo comes across as very critical, because the criticism's trying to uncover a need or like get a need met in some way. Especially coming out with this moon card, like the moon card often refers to our emotional needs and needs that come from our unconscious, often our past, our trauma, things like that, like any needs that arise from kind of deep within the psyche. The moon represents the side of the psyche that can be difficult to explore consciously. It's usually the part of the psyche that doesn't necessarily reveal itself in very easy to understand ways. It's not usually a very clear narrative. It's usually not very clear, like kind of visual images. It's usually deep within the psyche. And so it seems like your person's today really trying to determine what they would like to communicate and kind of where it's coming from, and how to best articulate their communication and their needs so that they're not coming across controlling or demanding or manipulative or anything like that. They've also probably been reflecting on all the ways that they've changed and all of the kind of things about your connection that's provoked kind of healing for this person, or at least being able to see things that were before so buried in the unconscious that this person wasn't really aware of it. They've definitely learned a lot, and I think that's part of the communication that they want to share, sharing kind of what's come up for them, what they've been able to see, what they've been able to heal, what they've been able to at least understand about themselves, like cognitively. And yeah, like that's definitely a theme of today. Kind of reflecting, especially as we get towards the end of the year, like reflection usually tends to be on people's minds, and that's definitely true for your person. Like, they're definitely reflecting on a lot. And I think as well, probably with this Virgo energy, they're trying to kind of mitigate anything that still feels kind of fresh or hot or, you know, like challenging for them, anything that's still not kind of sitting well for them. They're definitely like over analyzing that in terms of like making sure that they're not going to cause anyone else any harm by the things that they're kind of aware of that are still like kind of raw and fresh. But yeah, it seems like this person potentially went through some sort of dark night of the soul after this separation with this lunar eclipse energy. And I would say, just especially with these two cards coming out, I would say that they've definitely started to feel a lot better. Started to feel kind of like on the up. But yeah, maybe there's still this kind of like lingering, pulling themselves out of a dark place kind of energy that I feel. It's kind of like this residual darkness that's still around. But let's get a bit more specific for your messages, pile one, using this traditional tarot. Can we get more specific for pile one, please, in terms of their person's thoughts of them today? Can we get messages about pile one's person's thoughts of them today? Do we have anything else about pile one's person's thoughts of them today, please? Pile one, for context, this person definitely went through a dark night of the soul when this connection went into separation. And it was probably kind of the worst dark night of the soul that this person's ever been through. For context, they still have a little bit to go in terms of actually getting out of that darkness. And the next step for them practically is for them to essentially feel the fear and do it anyway. So this Six of Wands in reverse, this is Jupiter in Leo energy, and in order to heal this energy when it comes out in reverse, we definitely need to build our self-confidence and essentially feel the fear, do it anyway, and push ourselves outside our comfort zone, and not be afraid to put ourselves out there and put ourselves kind of in the spotlight in some way. I would sense for this person is to kind of put themselves out there in terms of vulnerability, in terms of communication with you, which they definitely want to do. And so in specific reference to what they've been thinking about today, they've definitely been thinking about their action coming forward. The Six of Swords is traditionally an action energy. It's an action card. A lot of the time it does actually refer to exes kind of coming back to, and because it's a very cognitive and communicative kind of energy with this swords energy, usually it's about either having some sort of conversation or someone intellectualizing kind of their plan to move forward. And this energy as well definitely asks us to move forward with our head rather than our heart, and especially clarified with this Seven of Cups energy. This is often about seeing things very clearly, and not allowing any of our own toxicity or any of our own kind of ego distortions or like fears kind of take over too much, to try and keep a really clear point of view, this Seven of Cups energy is a Venus in Scorpio. So it's about like, it's a very transformative energy, and it's a very like, it's a very challenging energy because Venus is in detriment in Scorpio. It's not its favorite place to be, and so the two energies kind of have to balance off each other with like balancing kind of love and action, especially because Scorpio rules deaths and rebirths. It's definitely about like honoring that, and Venus doesn't really want to do that. Venus is more of a like kind of go with the flow, kind of like hoped everything's going to be good kind of energy. So I'm sensing from these two energies coming out that yeah, this person's definitely trying to challenge themselves out of their own kind of box that they've put themselves in order to transform this connection, even though it's going to be very uncomfortable. They know in order to bring more love into their life and this connection, they need to just essentially do something hard and move forward with this connection. But yeah, this is definitely challenging them a lot. And yeah, I'm sensing that they're still trying to gain clarity about how to do this kind of smart. I think they might be trying too hard to think about how to do this without risking getting hurt, and I think that's just not realistic. Like, they're going to have to move forward even with that risk. But it does seem that your person overall feels more capable of handling your energy. They definitely see you as this high priestess energy. They definitely see you flourishing and glowing up since your breakup. And they definitely want to reconnect with you based on what they're seeing from you. They're probably seeing you kind of embracing very healthy boundaries, embracing like your natural kind of intuitive gifts, or whatever else it is, whatever maybe your artistic gifts are, or whatever else. And they know that they're going to be able to be way more secure in matching that energy now. Probably in the past, and probably a big part of the reason why this connection went into separation is your person definitely didn't feel confident in themselves to kind of handle your energy and be your equal. They had some not enough kind of and like lack of worthiness stuff come up for themselves, which I'm sure you did too, but you know, this reading's mostly from their perspective, and they just had a lot to kind of ground within themselves and become more secure and stable within themselves, so that whatever you've got going on and however you're showing up doesn't derail them completely, because I'm sensing they were very sensitive and easily kind of like thrown off in the past. And yet I think they didn't feel like they deserved you, and they also didn't feel like they deserved the life that the two of you could possibly have together. This Nine of Pentacles energy, this is a Venus in Virgo energy, and it's about embracing that you deserve the best in life and like doing what you got to do to bring that into fruition, especially like pampering yourself and really prioritizing any sort of self-care, especially to do with like the physical body, and yeah, like practical things of life. It's also a card when in reverse, it asks us to heal any poverty consciousness that we might have. So I'm sensing this person definitely needed to do that in the past, and now they're definitely feeling like they deserve a lot more. This Two of Pentacles is traditionally like coming more into balance and changing in the direction of balance kind of energy. It's a Jupiter and Capricorn energy, so I'm sensing that they have come more into balance in terms of like understanding that they were never that far off your energy, even though you guys obviously had ups and downs where each of you were able to be more secure in the connection for whatever reason. Both of you kind of had hard times and good times with that. But yeah, they're realizing that the two of you are much more balanced than what they thought. And there's a lot more potential for this connection now that they're a lot more secure in that fact that the two of you are equal, despite what their kind of not enough and unworthiness stories might tell them. This Two of Pentacles energy, though, does, when it comes out in reverse, it does talk about following opportunities, and also creating new structures and getting rid of old ones. So expanding in some way, especially materially. It seems like because this energy is in reverse that maybe your person is feeling a little bit uncertain about what opportunities there are to move forward with this connection and how to start anew, and kind of get rid of all the old patterns that the two of you had with each other. Like, that's definitely something they're kind of agonizing over, and they don't really know how that's going to go. I think that's coming from a place of like them trying to be a little bit too in control when this connection reconnects. Like, I think they want to be able to predict everything that's going to happen, but essentially, like, there's going to be some things that they're not going to understand, and they just need to hold their vision of what they want and move towards it, and just like kind of follow their nose in the moment, essentially. But yeah, that's obviously not something that they seem very good at because of this Virgo energy that came out. They're probably very practical, and so I think they want all the answers, even though it's a little bit too soon. Okay, so we have this not enough energy. Ooh, so much. Okay, so as we were just talking about before, this person definitely went through a like had to address a lot of their not enough consciousness and lack of confidence, and like any self-sabotage that they were doing, and fear and ego issues, and that just needed time. They needed time to heal all of that, and yeah, they're still doing a little bit with that, so they might just need a little bit more time in order to bring that into fruition. But they definitely want to kind of restart things again, reach out, let you know that they've been thinking about you, and you know, want to express love, and kind of restart the fun flirting, dating kind of seduction ritual. They do feel a lot of excitement and passion about restarting this connection with you, and all the fun that you guys will be able to have together. They know that they'll have the most abundant, like joyful life with you, and they're definitely like already really grateful to have encountered you. But yeah, they're still getting out of the void, like out of this dark night of the soul energy, and it'll just take some time. They've still got like a few things, as we mentioned in this reading, to sort out, a few more realizations to have in order to kind of like clear any stickiness that remains, but they're aligned with much more of their own sovereignty, and they can recognize and respect your sovereignty a lot more. But yeah, it's time to release negativity. So we've got another Scorpio energy, which is another transformation energy. So yeah, it's time to release anything that's holding this person back, and they're definitely trying to release negativity for sure. Do we have any more oracles for pile? Yeah, I'd say they're meditating on essentially what's next in this connection, and figuring out like how to proceed. There's still obviously a few things they're trying to figure out, and a few more stickinesses that are lingering that they, I think, would like to clear. But yeah, they're just like slowly unpacking it all and releasing as much negativity as they can. But let's get some, just a couple. Let me just get a few channeled messages for pile 1. I want to make you happy. I'm uncertain about the future. I'm learning to trust myself. Yeah, they literally don't know how this is going to go down, and they're struggling to trust like kind of how everything's going to pan out, but they're basically putting all of their trust in themselves, knowing that they've dealt with everything that's come already and they can deal with anything that's to come. And so they're just kind of getting brave, essentially. Let's get a last affirmation for you, pile 1. Can we get a last affirmation for pile 1, please? Okay, so we have, I choose to think positively because I know that I am a manifestation of my thoughts, and I'm divinely protected at all times and in all ways. I am safe from harm. I think they're nice and self-explanatory. I'm going to leave it at that today. I don't think they need any more explanation than that. But I've really enjoyed reading for you, pile 1. Thanks so much for making it all the way through if you did. If you can like, comment and subscribe, I would really appreciate it because it'll help me stay on your feed for more intuitive tarot card readings like this, and it'll help me find more people who need to hear these messages. But until I see you again, ciao. Hey pile 2, welcome to your reading for your person's thoughts of you today. So if you chose this beautiful moss agate crystal, then this reading is probably for you. But just so you know, this crystal represents new beginnings and growth, as well as like kind of strength in new endeavors. So if you're drawn to this crystal, that might be helpful to know that you're drawn to kind of this energy of new beginnings. But let's get some energies for you, pile 2, in regards to what your person has been thinking about you today. Pile 1, this 5th house energy has a lot to do with like sex, romance, pleasure, fun, also offspring. So it's very likely that your person today has been thinking about maybe romance and potential children, and or just like engaging in like that kind of like pleasure and fun with you again. This Pluto energy has a lot to do with beginnings and endings. So I would say, just given that this pile also has this new beginnings crystal come out, that this person is definitely thinking about how this connection can be different in the future now that they've undergone whatever kind of transformation and change that they feel that they've been through. It seems like this person's like definitely expanded a lot, especially in terms of their consciousness, I would say, and spiritual development. Jupiter is a planet of expansion, and it also rules the 9th house of spiritual development and faith and travel and things like that. So I'd say that this person feels much more evolved now, and I would say that they are also feeling like they kind of want to take responsibility for their future and their destiny, and start to put in some action, because Saturn is definitely associated with maturity, taking responsibility, and kind of like doing the work and getting things done. Saturn rules the 10th house of the world. I don't know why I had a mental blank then. And so it's likely that your person also feels way more aligned with their own life purpose, and feel much more comfortable with how they're showing up in the world, and essentially are probably wanting to start to share that with someone else. Especially with this soul card coming out, I would say that this for them is feeling like a drawing to have some sort of like soul connection, a soulmate, someone to kind of share their life with. The moon has a lot to do with your emotional world and like feeling connected and safe, and it's a very feminine energy as well, and feminine energies tend to want to be in connection with people, tend to want to be in relationship of some kind. So I'd say that, yeah, this person's kind of like leaning into their inner feminine that wants to connect. This does feel a little bit maybe new to your person. So yeah, like this is definitely interesting, that they are like starting to have this inner desire to connect with someone in a really deep way, which is maybe not something that they've necessarily felt a lot in their life. Interesting that we have 2 5s coming out straight away. 5s in numerology often represent conflict. But yeah, we're going to get some more specific messages using this traditional tarot. So Spirit, can we please have anything else for pile 2 in regards to their person's thoughts of them today? Ooh, this is a lot. Pile 2, when the Empress, Ace of Cups, and Emperor comes out, this usually indicates some sort of divine counterpart connection, and definitely, at the very least, a very new start in love, a new cycle in love, and very abundant love between two people that are kind of on the same level. It seems like your person today is definitely thinking about your connection with each other, and how well matched you are, and how much potential there is for a really beautiful love between each other, and just like so much intimacy and compassion and connection, and just like so much more abundance of kind of just like love and understanding than maybe they've ever had with any other connection in the past. But there's a few things that are keeping this person in separation from you right now, because this 7 of Wands energy, this is a Mars and Leo energy, and this is a definitely choosing your battles, being very mindful, being very careful, to make sure that you're kind of not taking on too much that you can't handle. This card, you can see from the illustration that this is one person taking on 6 opponents. When it comes out right way up, it's definitely about taking on many opponents and coming out victorious. And so yeah, a lot of the time when this does come out upright, it's referring to someone who's choosing their battles very wisely, preparing themselves, and also calling upon divine guidance and protection to kind of let themselves get through. And it also represents someone who's not motivated by ego. even though this person's taking on a lot of opponents, it's not coming from a place of ego. It's coming from a place of like really knowing what they can handle. And in terms of what this person's going through, they've potentially been going through a lot of kind of shadow work to uncover a lot about themselves and to become a lot happier, to understand kind of what makes them tick, what makes them content in life, and also learning to be grateful for what they already have as well. This is a Jupiter and Pisces energy, so it also has a lot to do with expansion when it comes to spirituality, spiritual gifts, and just like emotion in general. The cups has a lot to do with psychic abilities and also just like love and emotion in general. This person's grown a lot, but they're not ready to come out of this shadow period yet, because there's a few things holding them back. And so these are the things that this person's still battling. They want to upgrade their magician energy. I'm sensing that they're very much this divine masculine emperor energy. But this magician energy, this is kind of the most higher consciousness masculine energy in the deck. And it refers to someone whose attention is very much a temple. It's someone who's very present, very aware, very objective, diplomatic, definitely not skewed by their own story or pride or anything like that, where the emperor can get a little bit more skewed by those kind of more human things. But the magician is definitely someone who can kind of maintain a certain level of consciousness even when life around them is a bit of a shit show. And then this Eight of Pentacles energy traditionally talks about kind of success, especially financially. It's a Sun in Virgo energy, and when this comes out in reverse, usually it's referring to someone who still feels a little bit chaotic in terms of their own impulses and influences on their life, especially things that are detrimental to their finances, but just things that are detrimental to their practical routine and lifestyle in general. There's still some things that are maybe tempting this person, and just stuff that they're trying to figure out in terms of like being more organized, bringing out that more Virgo energy, to be essentially more disciplined, because this magician energy is very disciplined. And then this Page of Swords energy, this is usually someone who's entertaining themselves on very trivial matters, someone who's wrapped up in like maybe gossip or just like around people that are maybe a bit young and naive and not really on the same level as what this person wants to be on. When you're on this kind of like divine masculine journey, it's really important to surround yourself with people that are on a similar path and people that are also pursuing similar goals and like want to have similar conversations. And maybe this person hasn't refined their social circle enough yet. And so yeah, this is all this stuff that this person's working on, and this is definitely stuff that this person's been thinking about today, is essentially like doing this work so that they can come out of this shadow work period and really embrace their like kind of ideal lifestyle with you. But yeah, it seems like this person's still in a fair bit of conflict. Fives in numerology traditionally represent conflict. And it seems like this person's probably starting to get a handle on their own kind of like inner monologue and stories with this Five of Swords coming out. Like Five of Swords traditionally represents conflict when it comes to the way that we think and the way that we communicate, whereas the Cups is more about the way that we feel. And so I'm sensing from this person that they're definitely getting a handle on this Swords energy, but the Cups energy, like they might still be a little bit out of control in terms of their own feeling. This is a Mars in Scorpio energy, and it's definitely an energy that asks us to explore our own pain and grief and really feel it, and get to the heart of whatever our like emotional body needs to feel. And definitely going through the stages of like pain, grief, and being able to unblock any areas where our like our prana energy is blocked. So yeah, that's definitely something your person is kind of struggling with right now. I think they might be a little bit afraid of their own emotion, and I would say that they were potentially even afraid of how much they felt about you, which might have had something to do with why you guys went into separation in the first place. Like, other than it obviously being some sort of divine protection in order to preserve this connection from being damaged beyond repair, there definitely seems to be some fear of maybe how they felt about you in the background as well. But let's see what else they've been thinking about today. What else has pile 2's person been thinking about today? Okay, so this person's definitely entering into a new phase. This is like, again, transformation energy, changing their mind, growing, becoming a new person. And like, funnily enough, this soulmate's energy came out on top of this Empress Ace of Cups energy. So they definitely think that you're their soulmate. To me, this gives me kind of twin flame vibes, to be honest, but I think as far as their consciousness goes, they definitely believe that you're their soulmate. Maybe it's a mix of people here. So they definitely see you as a source of happiness, expansion, joy, playfulness, oneness, and they're definitely excited to enjoy each other, which is very much similar to this Nine of Cups energy. Okay, so this person definitely has been thinking about your breakup, and they definitely want to stop the pattern. They don't want to go through the same thing with you, and this is probably why they're being super diligent about the stuff that they kind of want to be able to come correct with before they reconnect with you. And I think they're probably feeling a little bit anxious about this no contact situation if you are in a completely no contact situation. Like, I'm getting a little bit of anxiety from this, but yeah, they definitely have been like going over your breakup, and definitely like they have a desire to stop the pattern. But yeah, this person wants to close kind of the past of this connection and start again. They're definitely doing a lot of the healing that they need, and they're definitely also today contemplating a future with you that definitely involves an engagement ring. Oh, bless. Can we have any other oracles about pile 2's person? Yeah, I think there's a lot that needs to be released, especially in regards to the past of this connection. And I'd say for this person, a lot of what needs to be released has to do with emotional stuff. There's probably stuff stuck in their body. Like, I can just sense that they have emotion stuck in there. Oh, what a synchronicity. So we have another new beginnings card, which again is this same energy of this crystal. Yeah, this person definitely wants a new beginning with you. I think they have a lot of faith that that's coming. Look, both faith and trust. This is heavy, like Jupiter energy. Like, having a lot of faith in a connection like this, even though the state of it is probably no contact kind of situation. They definitely realized a lot, and they're definitely learning to be very grateful for this connection and everything that it's taught them, as well as just being grateful for you as well. Do we have anything else for pile 2, please? So we have nothing will come of this situation. I think this is, so void of course of moon is like a missing energy. So to me, it's a separation energy. I actually don't think that this person is actually going to be able to do the healing that they want to do in separation from you. Like, I actually think that this person has kind of healed as much as they can possibly heal on their own. And actually what they probably need is to be in connection with someone to, like, because the thing is, when things are like stuck in your body, like, sometimes the only way to get things unstuck is to actually act it out. Like, until you act it out in the physical, sometimes things don't shift. And I think I'm getting that for your person a lot. Okay, this is a lot of energies. Wanting to come out. Okay. So we have, you're very close to achieving your goal. So yeah, it's probably likely that this person realizes that there's actually not much more that can be done in separation, and at some point the two of you will have to reconnect, and they're going to have to really trust in this Jupiter expansion and abundance energy, and work through any fears that they might have about reconnecting, and realize that it's not a premature reconnection, it's just a reconnection to continue to heal, being aware that there's still healing to do. You don't need to be completely healed to enter into a connection with someone, even though this person probably fears doing that. They probably fear coming to a connection when they know they're not like done healing, and that's an insecurity from them, that they're going to have to kind of let go of, and kind of release that fear in order to actually continue healing, because they've kind of almost taken it as far as they can go. So they're gonna have to pluck up the courage to be bold and make a move, which hopefully they will do in the not too distant future. They'll realize that the only way to reach the conclusions that they wish to attain will be through making moves. But let's see if we have any extra channeled messages from your person. Anything else they'd like to say that we haven't covered already? I'm overwhelmed and scared of how much I love you. You taught me to love myself. Please believe in us. I'm trying to connect to my feelings. I'm outgrowing old patterns. They're cute. I love that for you. Okay, do we have any last affirmations for pile 2, please? So we have, I allow transformation and flow with each phase, and I accept and release everything in my life that is beyond my power to change. I think this feels like it applies to both of you. There's probably parts of this that would make sense to both of you, but they feel pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to leave you with those. It has been a pleasure reading for you. My name's Jade Rewilding, and I would love if you can like, comment and subscribe so that I can stay on your feed for more intuitive tarot card readings like this, and I can find more people who need to hear these messages. But until next time, ciao. Hey there, pile 3. Welcome to your reading for your person's thoughts of you today. So if you chose this beautiful, I think it's iolite crystal, then this reading is probably for you. And what's interesting about this crystal, if you chose this crystal, which I assume you did if you're here, this is a crystal of psychic wisdom. So if you were drawn to it, that's just something interesting to know. Okay, we've got some things coming out. Not Gemini and Mercury both like springing out like that. We're getting some themes for you, pile 3, in regards to what your person was thinking about you today. 3, it's likely that your person was thinking about the soul contract that the two of you have with each other and how it was supposed to teach you a lot of things, especially about your subconscious or anything that was hidden from you at the time that you guys connected. The 11th and 12th houses are usually kind of very high order spiritual houses. They're kind of the most removed from the self and the most kind of like integrated with the collective. The 11th house in particular has a lot to do with groups and soul contracts, and then the 12th house has a lot to do with our unconscious stuff and how it feeds into the tapestry of life and how it feeds into collective healing, because a lot of our healing isn't actually about us. It's about healing that needs to be done usually on a global level, and we kind of play out a little piece of it in our lives and add to the healing of the entire collective. So even if your person probably couldn't put it in words, that's what they were thinking about, that was definitely the vibe of what they were thinking about. They were definitely thinking about kind of the higher purpose of this connection, and especially in regards to the healing that the two of you have been able to kind of create within each other. Gemini energy, this rules the Lovers card in the tarot. It's often associated with at least soulmate energy, but more often twin flame energy. And it's about two people with two usually opposing opposite points of view, i.e. the masculine and the feminine, having to connect in some way and kind of get each other on the same page, or at least understand each other's reality. It's about two different realities that are both equally valid and equally true, in that it's each other's experience, and essentially using communication to bridge the gap between two people, especially two opposite people that are so different in so many ways. And especially coming out with Mercury. Mercury has a lot to do with communication and intelligence, and definitely communication. This is heavy communication energy, and this person's probably today been thinking a lot about what they would like to communicate to you, and probably things that you might be confused about has been in the forefront of their mind. There's probably things about you in whatever energy you have that are confusing to this person, and there's definitely things about this person that are confusing to you, just because your polarity is so intense and high, and this has probably created a very magnetic, intense attraction between the two of you, because high polarity definitely usually creates intense attraction. That polarity has created some confusion for them and some confusion for you, but this person's kind of aware of what you might be confused about, and definitely wants to kind of shed light on their own experience to kind of bring you into the loop so that you can kind of understand them a lot better. And they definitely have questions to try and understand you a lot better too. And I think they're kind of positioning themselves to come into that conversation with a lot more openness and a lot more kind of curiosity and just willingness to try and understand, rather than kind of fear and judgment that may have been a theme to your guys' communication in the past. Leo also rules the 5th house of creativity, fun, pleasure, sex, offspring. So there's a good chance that your person's potentially been thinking today about connecting with you in a physical way. Leo's a fire element. Fire often correlates with kind of sex, desire, inspiration. It's likely that they've been thinking about connecting with you. And it's also likely, because Leo rules the heart, that they've been connecting to their own heart in some way, to figure out what their heart essentially has to tell them. Leo is also a very prideful energy, which to me gives me solar plexus energy. So they're probably also being mindful of their own willpower and their own potential for pride and arrogance for sure as well. But we're going to get a bit more specific using this traditional tarot. Okay, not the marriage card coming out. Any more messages for pile 3, please? Do we have any more messages? Okay, so I'm getting from these two cards, which are traditionally a marriage card and traditionally a card of like generosity and giving, that this person, like ultimately what they want is to reconnect with you, potentially marry you, offer you some sort of long-term commitment at the very least, and especially in the future of this connection, be much more generous in terms of their time, potentially their finances, as well as their communication as well, especially with this Gemini and Mercury energy coming out. I think they realize that when they don't communicate, you guys can get very triggered with each other with this 12th house of escape coming out. This is a lot of our subconscious stuff. So they know that when they're choosing not to participate in generosity, especially with their communication, but also just like general generosity into this connection, when they're not investing enough to kind of keep you kind of secure enough, they do create a lot of triggering and a lot of kind of self-fulfilling prophecy in terms of our unconscious manifesting terrible kind of things for ourselves. It seems like this person definitely has done a lot of grieving when it came to this connection. They definitely had to lean into a lot of pain and learn a lot from what was triggering them personally in the first kind of cycle of this connection and where it was coming from. This Page of Pentacles is definitely a heavy kind of like learning card, and just clarified by this Three of Swords, this is traditionally a separation card, but kind of more broadly it refers to energies surrounding separation, so usually more to do with like kind of grief, pain, loss, being triggered, being like having past pains definitely come up and come out and cause some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy and destruction, because this Page of Pentacles definitely is a manifesting kind of energy as well. So yeah, your person's definitely learned a lot about how they were contributing to self-fulfilling prophecies in the past. It seems like one thing that they're still kind of stuck on, which they've probably been thinking about a lot today, is this Three of Pentacles energy, given that it came out in reverse. So this is a Mars in Capricorn energy, and it's associated with trying not to criticize and control others so that you can be a good teammate for them. The Three of Pentacles is traditionally like a kind of collaborative kind of energy. And when it comes out in reverse, it's usually referring to someone who is trying to avoid their own pain by managing the behavior of others. So it seems like to this person, you're probably like mirroring a lot and triggering a lot in this person, and kind of initially in this connection, their solution to that was to try and control you, to try and control their own pain and their own triggering and like avoid all of that. And so that's definitely something they've realized and something they're working on. And I would say that just given the nature of this connection is kind of more their thoughts. I think it's becoming more apparent to them. It's slipping more into their conscious mind rather than their unconscious mind. And so they're kind of understanding how it plays out and how it contributes to self-fulfilling prophecies and the destruction of connections, especially this connection in the first kind of turn. This Six of Swords is traditionally a transition and movement card, and it often refers to someone moving forward, especially with communication, given that the sword suit has a lot to do with communication. And this Two of Pentacles energy is traditionally a kind of change and balance card. So it seems like this person does want a new start with a lot of change, especially change from themselves. They are expecting a lot of change from themselves in how they show up in this connection. They definitely want to show up much better, much more balanced, and much better at understanding how the two of you are so different in some ways, and how much more kind of generous they need to be with their communication to keep you guys kind of sane, essentially. It does seem like they essentially want to start with a whole new paradigm. The Ten of Swords, given that it's a Sun in Gemini energy, it does ask us to start over with a whole new paradigm. It kind of references coming to the end of some sort of cycle, and kind of outgrowing whatever kind of way of intellectualizing or communicating we've relied on in the past, and kind of uplifting to a new level, like taking it to a new spiritual level. It kind of seems like the main thing blocking your person from kind of really up leveling at this time that they're probably becoming more aware of is essentially their own ego, which is, so Strength in Leo, this is Leo energy, this Strength card. And this Strength card right way up is about kind of taming the beast within. That's why it's usually depicted with some kind of animal that represents the beast within. And it's kind of about this balance between the 5D higher self and the 3D kind of animal self, respecting why the 3D animal self is there, why the ego can be healthy at times, and why it's necessary for the animal to actually exist and survive in the 3D world, but also not letting it get out of control to the point where the ego is running the show. And so that's kind of what we were talking about earlier with this Leo energy, is your person's very mindful of their own pride and making sure that their pride doesn't run the show, so that they can show up as authentically and like as best as possible for the service of others, essentially. So yeah, they're all things that this person's been thinking about today. It seems like kind of their biggest kind of blocks when it comes to taking this action that they want to take is definitely their own pride and their own mindfulness in terms of their ability to actually work with someone without controlling them and trying to manipulate in some way, or be like overly demanding or whatever to try and manage their own emotions. Like they're essentially trying to be brave enough to face their own darkness, and also not let their ego get out of control. And that's like the main thing that's kind of blocking this person from reaching out for this new start and this long-term commitment that they definitely want in their heart. Do we have any oracles for pile 3, please? Do we have any oracles for pile 3? Okay, so we have the snake. So this usually refers to an enemy of some kind. I would say that based on how this reading's panned out, it's referring to the enemy within, the snake within. This animal within who's often, representative of their like ego self. So yeah, this person's definitely been thinking about their own propensity for kind of like self-sabotage and like their ego getting in the way. But they definitely know that you hold the key to their heart. They know that they've met the one in you. They know that you guys are perfect together and that you guys need to reconnect at some stage when you're both ready. Do we have any other oracles for pile? Do we have any? So we have talking and coffee cup. So this person's probably, again with this Gemini communication, Mercury energy, probably thinking a lot about how they're going to reach out and reconnect with you. I think at this stage their plan seems to be wanting to reconnect quite casually. Okay, I'm gonna have to blur that out before I get that out. yeah, they're going to want to reconnect quite casually by the looks of it at this stage. That might change though when they can kind of get their pride out of the way, because that might be kind of coming from a place of fear, I'm kind of sensing, is this very casual reconnection. That's not to say that the reconnection won't be casual in the end, but yeah, I think at this stage, they're kind of, I want to say pussyfooting around a little bit mentally about it. So yeah, I'd expect something a little bit more bold, especially with this Leo energy coming out by the time they do actually reach out. But yeah, at this stage, they're definitely thinking something pretty casual in terms of reconnection. Do we have any more oracles for pile 3, please? So we have attraction. They obviously feel an intense attraction to you, which we were talking about earlier in terms of this Leo energy ruling fun and sex and pleasure. Definitely been thinking about how attracted they are to you today. And yeah, I think they've been reflecting on the growth that the two of you have had and realizing how much they've blossomed into a new person, and also how much change has kind of come from this place of like intense, like just triggering and challenge and yeah, like wildness. I can think they can see kind of the polarity of the two of you going through a lot of like beautiful blossoming and a lot of like kind of intensely transformative change. Whoop. Do we have anything else for pile 3, please? So we have show the world the real you, especially show this person the real you. It's important that you are really authentic with this person and kind of show them who you really are. They're looking for that polarity. They're looking for that truth. They're looking for that communication. So don't be afraid to show them that. So we have more Leo energy with the confidence is the key to your success. I think this has to do with this person like needing to embrace a lot of this Leo energy and definitely be confident in themselves. Like I'm sensing that that's a big reason why this strength thing still kind of eludes them. Like I think a lot of their giving away the power to the 3D actually comes from a place of lack of confidence in themselves than it comes from a place of lack of ability. But know that there's still some adjustments that are required from this person before they reach out in regards to these things that they're still working on. But let's get some last channeled messages. So we've got overcome with desire for you. As we've been saying with this Leo energy, that's sex, pleasure, creativity. I'm struggling to resolve my issues. Yeah, there's still a few things, especially with their ego, that they're trying to overcome. And I wish I could see you. Bless. I feel like they're cute. But let's get some affirmations for you, pile 3, to finish off with. Is there any affirmations for pile 3, please? Any affirmations for pile 3, please? Okay, so affirmations for you, pile 3, is divine energy flows through me and I am a radiant being. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm going to leave that there. I hope you've got everything you wanted or needed out of this reading today. My name is Jade Rewilding and it has been a pleasure reading for you. I would love if you could like, comment and subscribe so that I will stay on your feed and appear on more people's feeds like you who needs to hear this reading. But until I see you again, ciao.